Gonna just jump right into a presentation. Yeah. So
okay, Vanessa.
Right. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So something of a miracle to be here because we've got no power, and also there's been a massive thunderstorm. So if you lose me, I apologize in advance. But what I'm here to do today is just to say thank you to Lynette and Tribe Sober. I'm almost 2 years alcohol free, which is quite phenomenal for me. And 2 years ago, I promised that if I did manage to go AF completely, I would share the tools that had helped me. I'm not really believing that it would ever actually happen, but here we are. And so with Lynette's help, I kind of stepped up and kept my promise, maybe a year later, but it's okay. And so I've written a list of things that help me, and I've called it the other 12 steps. And I've also shared some doodles, which were part of a homework that I did with Lynette, who was coaching me and still coaches me. So really, I'm just going to take you through, it's a list of things that help me kick booze. And I think of them as like a string of gems or nuggets, which really helped change my life. And also go alcohol free without any regrets, which is it's a massive thing, because I think a lot of us believe that we are leaving something behind when we get sober. Also, I have realized that there are 12 days left till the end of the year from tomorrow. So it's quite fitting. We could all try and do one of the 12 things or a new thing in the last 12 days of the year. A meditation, a cold shower, or a Untitled Chapter. So also, just before I start, these things are not necessarily just for kicking the booze. Really, we're all at different sections of our journey, and they kind of help with whatever it is that you might be struggling with. So let's go. The other 12 steps is basically, no offense to AA, but it's sort of an alternative play on the 12 steps of Alcoholic Anonymous, because we don't all have the same journey when we're giving up booze. There's so many other options now, like the amazing Tribe Sober, for example. And I've called it the Hero's Journey after Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey. It's very loosely based, because we really are all on a journey, and it's something that never really ends. It's a transformation that carries on and gets better and better. So this list is kind of divided into the sections of the hero's journey, which is crossing the threshold, gift of the goddesses, return with elixirs, and so on. And also there are lots of quotes in the actual list that I've written. I'm not going to share too many of those with you today. There is something that did stand out for me, however. Somebody called Dr. Anna Lemke, you might have heard of her, has written a book called Dopamine Nation. And one of the things that she flagged was that the use of alcohol addiction in adults over 65 has gone up dramatically. And in 84% in women, in women in general, in the last couple of years, which is it's huge. It's a lot of food for thought. So, okay, let's picture ourselves. We're on the journey. We're still all drinking, possibly, and we're in the ordinary world of the hero before we actually set foot into the path of the unknown. In the ordinary world, we come across people drinking all the time, and it's very normal for our culture. And perhaps you don't have to hit a rock bottom. Perhaps you're just thinking, damn, I'm not quite getting to the things that I want to do with my life. But you can't find a way in to quit the booze. So I found through this list, and with the help of Tribe Sober and Lynette, it doesn't have to be a white knuckle experience. Also, it's not a failing. There's nothing about being a failure in terms of drinking. It's actually a toxic and addictive substance. So anybody who's struggling, it's not a personal failure, it's a human one. And then I'm also here to say that if I can do it, anybody can. And off we go, we're on the adventure. A lot of times, people such as Alan Carr have compared drinking to wearing tight shoes and being in a cycle of discomfort. And that cycle goes round and round. Every time you drink, you have a withdrawal, and then you drink again, and to ease that withdrawal. And that's known as wear shoes, taking off a tight shoe. So I thought that was quite cool in terms of a journey, because on our journey, we're going to start off possibly with very tight shoes, and then we're going to keep trying different shoes on, and we're going to find the things that fit us. And possibly we're going to take off our shoes altogether and skip off into the sunset. Right. And Lynette, this is a part of Lynette's absolute brilliance as a coach. She's made so many people heal in terms of her coaching method. And particularly if you are considering going alcohol free, I mean, we're all at different parts of that journey. Lynette's actually encapsulated exactly what the call to adventure is in terms of quitting. And I'm just going to read this last bit of her quote here. And it says, "Remember, what we consistently do is what we get good at. So if we consistently drink, that is going to be our reality. I chose to get consistently uncomfortable, and what an adventure it's been. It has been so worth it, all of it." So there we are, we're on the journey, and we're about to get uncomfortable. It's true, but it's going to be an adventure. And now we're getting to the actual tools and the things that really help me. And I'm sharing these because honestly, things that appeal to me may not appeal to you, but it's a pick and choose situation. So for me, a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron was quite seminal in changing my whole thought pattern about connection and creativity. The book itself is a 12-week course, and quite literally you get taken through steps which she positions as getting in touch with your creativity, but really it's about connection. And I think a lot of us who are over drinkers struggle with connection. And another thing that's very, very core to this is a lot of us, I think, are people pleasers, which through The Artist's Way and through these steps, Julia Cameron makes us actually step back and start focusing on ourselves. So she shines a spotlight on shame and uses these tools to reconnect you with yourself and your creativity. Something that she says is it's progress, not perfection. And that's what we should be asking ourselves. The second step in Joseph Campbell's hero's journey is called supernatural aids. And I've put in what I consider supernatural aids here. 21 days of abundance consciousness. I don't know if anyone's heard of this. It's 3 weeks of daily meditations from Deepak Chopra, with journaling to go with, and quite inspiring questions that you're asked of yourself in terms of your journaling. It's quite powerful, probably not necessarily for everybody, but I found it transformative. And then there's something called EFT, which is an emotional freedom technique, or tapping. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It's when you tap on the meridian points, different meridian points of your body to balance out the energy system. Quite transformative as well. And when I heard about this, I thought to myself, how could I have not known this existed in the world? I mean, it quite literally calms you down. It completely resets your nervous system. And that's very helpful in terms of anyone struggling with cravings and so on. Then number 3, supernatural aids, is somebody called Michael Singer, who Lynette will know well. And he's a writer of a series of books. One of them, the first one, called The Untethered Soul. The second one, The Surrender Experiment. These books look at assumptions about life and the magic that happens when you let go. And quite honestly, I can't recommend The Surrender Experiment enough. It's not about drinking at all. And yet on all the alcohol-free sober groups on Facebook and so on, it's cited time and time again as a real healing experience, a real reset of how you see the world. Okay, crossing the threshold. This is just a pause before you actually get into that the transformational ordeals, which are going to come up ahead on your journey. And this is just a recommendation in terms of, before you bite off a huge big goal, is to set yourself small goals, to change small habits, change your habit loop in a small way before challenging yourself in a big way, building up your confidence and paving the way for the crossing ahead. And now we get into the actual nitty-gritty of the things that talk about quitting. Alan Carr, I'm sure most of you have heard of Mr. Carr. A Nobel Prize should be given to him for the easy way and the funny way. He helps you position your addiction and how to transform it, and helps you stop thinking about what you're giving up when you give up something, and repositions it into how wonderful it will be when I can finally stop poisoning myself. And just a pro tip from me, I nearly didn't finish my first Alan Carr book, and I told somebody, a good friend of mine, that I was like, oh, what's this all about? I don't get this at all. And she just said to me, listen, you need to finish it. That's the point, you finish it. So I finished it, put it aside, thought nothing more of it. And then 3 weeks later, I stopped smoking through a whole series of miraculous events. And quite honestly, it was Alan Carr's easy way to quit smoking that was quite seminal to that. So it works very deeply on your unconscious. So simple, but incredibly effective. Annie Grace, I'm sure a lot of us have heard of Annie Grace and This Naked Mind. She teaches the ACT technique, awareness, clarity, and turnaround. Really just making sobriety trendy. And I think there's a lot of people that are understanding that drinking is a poisonous, toxic, and debilitating thing to do. I know we struggle, but once the penny drops, it is quite phenomenal. And I think that Annie Grace is quite legendary in terms of not looking at slip-ups and drinking or falling back into drinking patterns as the be-all and end-all, in a way that sometimes Alcoholics Anonymous might do. So slip-ups are data points, and you're encouraged to be curious and not judgmental. Very powerful. Another person who was seminal on my journey is Belle Robertson, tired of thinking about drinking. She's a little bit stricter, but more old school. And she's got a whole lot of things that you can get involved in: audios, counseling, quite a lot of live audio. And she calls the drinking voice in your head Wolfie, the thing that leads you astray. And her coaching is, as I say, quite strict, and she doesn't support data points or anything like that. It's a very different approach, but also effective. William Porter, I think a lot of us also would know about William Porter. He's got more than a cult following. He takes sort of Alan Carr's wisdom and puts it together with somebody like a neuroscientist such as Dr. Andrew Huberman, and very persuasive and down to earth in terms of sharing how alcohol is insidious in our lives, and when it's gone, it's something that you'll never ever regret, you know. So he basically pulls the curtains back and opens up the real honest truth about what alcohol and drinking is doing to us. Also very English based, so a lot of humor if you're looking for somebody with a great sense of humor. Right, and our very own Tribe Sober, Janet, very, very influential. This group has been amazing for me, particularly through lockdown. Janet was also key to helping me stop smoking. I listened to a podcast of hers, which really, really was very authentic and compelling, and got me thinking quite seriously about what I was doing to myself. Lucy, you're amazing. I love your calendar. It was really helpful. And pro tip, don't take the day. Don't take the day off until it's done, okay? The WhatsApp group, absolute light bulb moment for me in terms of connection. And then, of course, the Sober January and Dry July, amazing. And just like every bit of alcohol-free time that you put together, you're building up new pathways and you're creating the strength to carry on into your AF journey. I'm a big lover of memoirs and a big reader, and I believe fundamentally that we can learn from people who have gone before us, and surprising people that you wouldn't have thought really, really struggled with addiction. Stephen King, for example, massive problems, I say in inverted commas, with alcohol and drugs. His memoir on writing is absolutely phenomenal. Not just as a piece of writing, it really is a story that's worth reading over and over again. A gentleman called Rich Roll has written a book called Finding Ultra. This is very interesting because it's about him starting to find himself, but only 10 years into being alcohol-free. So it's quite a different take on what you can do, say 10 years into your sobriety. And for him, he became the top ultra marathon runner, competitor in the whole world. And he was in his early 40s, so phenomenal. And then Wim Hof, I think we're all familiar with Wim Hof. I'm a big fan. And I think in terms of not having too much electricity in South Africa, the cold shower is the way to go. And it just resets everything. If you can get near a cold bath or a cold shower or a plunge, so I know some of you are in the UK, go for it. Do it before New Year. The gift of the goddesses, we're on our way towards becoming alcohol-free, no white knuckles, and so on. These are 3 women who really, really made an impact on me in terms of their stories. And I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with these. The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober by Catherine Gray. We Are the Luckiest, The Surprising Magic of a Sober Life by Laura McCowan. And Quit Like a Woman by Holly Whitaker was a real eye-opener into how marketing to women in particular, alcohol marketing to being marketed to women, is actually a political and a sociological issue. You know, we think, again, we tend to blame ourselves when we are really struggling to quit, but in fact we're being targeted as women to drink more, especially the older group of women that I fall into. And there we have our dear Lynette, who I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for you, Lynette. So I've got such gratitude for you. Thank you so much. I found Lynette through Tribe Sober. I was pretty far down on my journey, but I just couldn't kick it, hey? Couldn't kick those odd binges, and I just kind of getting to the point where I thought, I'm never gonna actually just kick it. And Lynette just she was like the the angel on top of the Christmas tree. She said in the first session, she asked, "Are you willing to do whatever it takes to stop drinking?" And honestly, my answer was, I don't know. I'm really not sure. That's it's a big ask. But yeah, it's second session in and never look back. And I say that with real honesty. Obviously, there are challenges, and you want to manipulate how you're feeling when you're in difficult and challenging places. But somehow the answer is no longer alcohol for me. So thank you, Lynette. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope I haven't gone too quickly. It's been, I just wanted to get through this and give you an overview of some of the things that are available to help us, and particularly to say thank you to Janet and Tribe Sober and you, Lynette. So, are you ready for sobriety, which is the grounding anchor and a beautiful pair of wings, which you can feel, hopefully you can feel them growing. And a lovely quote from Julia Cameron. And then to end off with a quote by Holly Whitaker: "The achievement of sobriety is not the point. It's a byproduct of the work, and the work is the point." So, thanks.
Oh, well, thank you, Vanessa. Can you stop sharing your screen, and then we
can
get you back, get everybody back. There we go. Let me change this view. So we've got gallery view, and I'm going to stop recording.